Afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to announce the DHL Stormers to play against the Jaguares on Friday night. Starting at the back is Dylan Lades, Sergio Peterson, Dan Duplessis, Damien Delenda, SP Marais, Jean-Luc Duplessis, Herschel Jankies, Jean-Ro Augustus, Peter Steptoe, Sia Khaleesi, captain, JD Schickerling, Evan Etzebeth, Francois Herber, Skara Intabeni, Stephen Kutzoff. On the replacements bench is Bongi Mbanambi, Corne Fari, Wilco Lowe, Kobus Visa, Jaco Kutsia, Justin Phillips, Ruan Null, and Damien Willemse.
Rob, it's as close to full strength as you've probably been this year. You've obviously made a tactical change with Damien sitting out on the bench, but I mean, that pack looks pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is. It's obviously Kutsi, coming back into the frame now. He recovered from his hamstring. Obviously, brings a bit of experience there to the tight five. He does replace Alistair Vermaak, who unfortunately sustained a neck injury and could be out for a long period of time. In saying that, Ali played really well, when he played for us in the 3 games. But certainly Kutsi does bring that experience and a bit of power up front. So yes, it's it's a decent pack. Bringing in Augustus at 8 also brings another dynamic to the group. Jaco Kutsia, I felt in the last 2 games has performed really well there, but just a bit of an opportunity there for Trocky, and we're looking forward to seeing how he goes. But yeah, pretty happy with the selection this week.
How much of that is to do with the opposition? I mean, the Jags pack hasn't been great in terms of the scrums. Might be an area to target this week.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think that they didn't scrum too badly against the Bulls away, but they did struggle a little bit against the Lions. But their line out, prior to last weekend was operating at 98%, so it has been one of the best performing lineouts in the competition. We all saw what their maul was like against the Lions last weekend, so I think that also, I don't, I haven't seen their side as of yet, but I'm assuming that they're going to put in, most of their test players back into the frame, and that's what we've been planning for. And it looks like they did a bit of rotations last week, so we're expecting a real tough battle up front. And and I guess that we've chosen a similar sort of pack to deal with that.
Just a word on Scudder's inclusion.
Yeah, again there, Adnan, just a rotation there to give him an opportunity. Bongi has started in the last couple of games, and Scat has performed well off the bench, so certainly giving him an opportunity, and just to keep them, the squad motivated that there are opportunities to start within the group, and to keep it nice and fresh and the energy going.
Mickey, obviously every game is important and victory, but how important before you go on a tour? Obviously you want to have momentum and all that. You don't want to. How important is that before you go on a tour?
That is, Craig. I mean, it's we haven't really focused on the tour as such. It really has been all about this game, and that's really started last week. When we got together on Tuesday and Wednesday. So this game is really important. After the slow start, we've just been speaking about gaining, that confidence again within the group, and those 2 wins that we've had now were critical, obviously, in getting the confidence back and just getting a bit of momentum, as you say. So, it is important that we play well tomorrow night, on Friday night, and that we. And that we take that confidence going forward. But it is all about this game, and and beating. A team that has performed pretty well at home, and and has put a lot of teams under pressure. When they had their full strength side, and they are a test outfit, and they've played a lot of rugby together. And when they're on song, they're tough to beat. So we're going to certainly have to be at our best, and we think that we have to be better than what we have been in the last 3 weeks in terms of our games in order to beat them at home. So. But yes, it's a very important game for us before we do embark on a 4-week tour.
Rob, a Friday night game, I suppose if you had normally had a Saturday game, it would be an odd week in terms of sort of your structure, but having it at the bye and then going into a Friday game, is that quite a good scenario?
Yeah, well, I guess, we can get into it straight away. The week is a little bit shorter, and, like we only trained twice last week because of the bye week, and the Springboks were, away at camp, at their lineman camp. So I guess the guys have been chomping at the bit, to get stuck in and play some rugby again. And it's a day earlier. I mean, we obviously have to change our week, but the guys have been pretty fresh, and there's a lot of energy within the group, and they're just keen to get out there and play. So we're looking forward to it. As you say, it comes a day earlier. It gives us an extra day rest before we travel overseas on Sunday. But everything has been poured into this week in terms of how we want to play against the Jaguares, and and it's been a great week thus far.
Vicky, also don't want to get ahead of yourself, but take the victory. But is this an opportunity? If opportunity arises now to score more tries and get a bonus point possibly?
Oh, Craig, look, I think that, we spoke about it during the week. I mean, obviously the group wants to, play the brand that we know and what is part of our DNA. But for us, it was really about just, regrouping and building that confidence within the group, the last two games. And we certainly had to fight hard to get those wins, which built a hell of a lot of character and grit, within the group. And now it's just about building on that, and this weekend gives us an opportunity to try things, and we're playing at home, but certainly it's the win's got to come first. We just got to keep winning, and just to keep building on that confidence. And I'm sure if we start playing with a lot more confidence as the campaign goes along, the tries will follow.
Ricky, having said that, a guy like Damon Williamson, what kind of impact do you think you'll make in the second half?
Yeah.
15 or 10?
Yeah, look, I mean, he for me, for the first time, this campaign, I really saw something in him, this week. He trained exceptionally well. I'm certainly looking forward to seeing what he can produce from the bench. Whether that's at 10 or 15, we'll make that decision on the day. But he's certainly going to get a fair bit of game time, and he's going to play his role. I feel that he's just slowly, getting into the season. But this week, I really saw a significant improvement in the way he went about things and the energy that he brought to the group. He's a very important player to us, as a young player, so he brings a lot of energy, but he's got that X factor, and he's starting to find his feet again, after a slow start. So I'm excited to see how he comes, off the bench.
Yeah. He got injured last year, he was going well.
Yeah, 100%. He had a great game against the Crusaders last year, and then he finished off strong. I think it was against the Lions and the Sharks. So, for us, it's been for some time since we've seen him, get back into the mix. He missed out in the Currie Cup through an injury, so and he got injured earlier on in this year. So it's a welcome return for him. He's got a big role to play, off the bench, whether that's coming on at 4 or at 7, we feel that he can add something different there. It's he adds a bit of grunt, to the pack, and he works nice and hard. I think for him, his biggest work on is just, doing the basics well and not worrying too much about the other stuff, and just really getting stuck in. So he's been chomping at the bit as well, for the last couple of weeks, just waiting for that opportunity, and it's now on Friday night.
Chalky fit and rearing today?
Yeah.
How do you keep him? He seems to play 1 or 2 games, get injured. I mean, if he could play 4 or 5 games, he could. How do you keep him on the park?
Absolutely. Well, I think that this is probably the fittest we've seen him, to be honest, Craig. I mean, he had a very, very good pre-season. I think he was very unfortunate with the injury that he sustained against Boland. It happened literally in the last minute of that game in the pre-season, and he just rolled over his ankle. So that kept him out. But he's been, credit to him, he's been working incredibly hard on his conditioning. And so it was just an unfortunate injury. I think there's no longer the soft tissue injuries that he's sustained in the past. He used to have some back issues, but those are all hopefully gone now. And now it's about him just getting, game time and consistently playing. Because if we remember back against the Bulls in the Marvel, superhero game, he was outstanding. Both him and Yaku could see us. So. We are very excited about what he can do, if we can keep him on the park. And I think that, he's made a major change in the way he approaches things, and he's looking fit and ready to go.
He looks special. I mean, that speed and
yep.
acceleration. I mean,
No, he's an explosive player, you know, and he's pretty deadly, you know, close to the line and around the fringes. So he's pretty hard on the ball as well, and he stops momentum and gets us momentum. So he's a player that we are certainly looking at, you know, bringing him involved more and more.
What's on the Ricky January diet?
You said that. I was.
Just on the point about stopping power, I mean, how important is it to stop those
Yeah.
areas getting going?
No, absolutely. You know, one thing about them is, you know, they can hang on to the ball and put you under pressure, and they've got some big ball carriers there, and they carry pretty low as well. So, you know, our defence, which I feel has been pretty good, you know, of late. It looks, you know, we're pretty well organised at the moment, and you know, we're up there in the stats in terms of gain line and in terms of dominant tackles, and and our tackle percentage as well. You know, success rate is at 90%, I think, or 91%. So it's going to have to be top notch this weekend. You know, we all saw the ability that the Jaguares have, you know, when there's a bit of space, and they scored some, you know, pretty impressive tries against the Lions, you know, even though they were, you know, fighting their way back into that game. But their bench made a big difference when they came on, and they're certainly, when they do get a rumble on, they're a pretty tough side to play. So defensively, we're going to have to be at our best. I think they're certainly going to ask more questions than what we faced in the last 3 weeks.
Also with Springboks, I'm sure, I don't know why, your thing with Rassie, how many minutes, and I mean, if the game is say for 20, would you try and give someone like Peter Steff a rest? Does it work like that, or does he have to have a complete break, or if he gets substituted, do you look at total minutes?
Yeah, we look at it from a total minutes point of view. So, you know, look, obviously with Peter Steff and, you know, and some of the other contracted Springboks, there's an agreement in place, and you know, we certainly will be looking to give them breaks through the campaign, but we can also manage them through the amount of minutes that they do play and train. So you know, we're quite far down the line in terms of, you know, speaking to our players about that and informing them, you know, how we want to go about it through the campaign. But we've got to look after those guys. I mean, it's a long year for them, and you know, especially with the World Cup in mind. But
is that an ideal scenario if the game is fairly safe and 20-25 minutes you take them off? Is that an ideal scenario?
It could be, Craig. I mean, we'll just, you know, play it by ear. Listen, I've sat in the coach's box with Alistair before, and we've made major changes, and we were up by, I don't know, 30 points, and the next thing you know, you're staring down the barrel, and you 2 points win. You know, so we've got to be smart in terms of the way we go about those things in during a game, but certainly, you know, we've been pretty good in our planning, you know, off the field in terms of giving them a heads up how we're going to manage them.
Becky, some of your the rotation moves are quite interesting in the sense that Bongi and Yaku both kind of had big games against the Sharks. And Damien, I suppose, an intercept isn't necessarily a sign that you played really well, but, you know, and you said Damien had trained well. Were these changes pre-planned in advance, or?
Yeah, Steve, I think that you know, what's important is that that everyone is playing well, you know, and then we can also rotate, you know, which you know, it's important that we have that ability to rotate, because it keeps the players motivated. You know, we need to you know, we need to dangle some carrots in front of players and keep them motivated. And you know, with the likes of Bongi, you know, he was good against the Sharks, and you know, but it's important that you know, SARu gets his opportunity as well, because he's been pretty good and impressive off the bench. So the group understands that, you know, it's a long campaign, and you know, if we can keep players fresh by resting one or two players or rotating them in terms of game time, but also, you know, giving guys opportunities, you know, like Troki at 8 and like SARu now at hooker, you know, it just shows that we have that ability to, you know, keep the energy going within the group and keep the, you know, the group motivated. As long as we're all performing and they're all performing, you know, it's there's a good understanding amongst the group, you know, and I think that it just keeps that, as I say, that energy and motivation within the group going forward.
All right, any other questions? We're all good.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Ricky's died was a maple and syrup.
Hey man, but you know how powerful that is.
No, I rate that actually. We could play 5 or 6 games, you know. But he just seems to need a bit of luck also.
No, do you know he's really fit this year, so it's